Boom, shakalaka boom. You tuned in to the Free Range Human show of choice, your daily dose of reality radio. It starts right now. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I am, of course, the head salty cracker on the radio this morning, Clay Edwards. We are streaming worldwide at WYAB.com as well as the TuneIn app and Alexa. Just search WYAB. If you want to chime in this morning, your thoughts and opinions, the phone line, the Mazda of Jackson phone line is 601-879-0002. We're going to have a guest here at 7:35 on the Mazda of Jackson phone line. There's Lindsey Beckham, Moms for Liberty. Going to be discussing some important bills that need to get out of committee today or they die. There's been a lot of terrible legislation this year, this session, and there's actually some good legislation apparently, but it can't get out of committee. The Senate can't seem to get anything done. We're going to talk about all that here at around 7:35. The Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944, 769-241-1944. Follow me on X, at SaveJXN. It's real simple. That's all my social media platforms that are for this anyway. At SaveJXN. If you're on Facebook, join the Clay Edwards Show Facebook group. We're having a lot of good times in there. It's up to almost 4,000 members. Go just type in Clay Edwards Show. Make sure you put the show on the end, and that'll take you straight to the group. All right. So I'm sitting around yesterday evening doing some work, looking for some videos to make, a little kind of show prep, just doing what I do in the afternoons. Went and got a great workout yesterday. Shout out to Chris Robinson, pushing me, holding me accountable, making me show up to the gym, not just the gym at my house. And at my gym, by the way, men are not allowed to use the women's restroom, no matter how much of a woman they pretend to be. That's one of the perks and benefits of going to a locally owned gym. If you're still working out at Planet Fitness, shame on you. I guess Planet Fitness will never be an advertiser on this show, which is fine by me. I don't need their money. And I ain't selling myself out. So I'm sitting home yesterday afternoon. And, I never got around to doing a video about the Easter night birthday shooting. I was driving in yesterday morning to Flora when I got the notification. I had to get on the radio, and I was just busy. I said, man, there's no point in talking about it 12 hours after the fact. Well, Jackson gonna Jackson. And if y'all don't know, we had not one, not two, but 3 mass shootings in Jackson, Mississippi. I mean, by FBI legal definition, mass shootings in less than 24 hours. 2 on Easter night, 1 yesterday. And one of them, the only one where somebody died, 4 people got shot. And guess where, y'all? Guess where the one sandwiched in the middle happened at, where somebody actually died? The Jasco on Highway 80 at Ellis Avenue. If you've listened to this show for more than 5 minutes, you know, I know, he knows, she know, everybody know that, in my opinion, that's the deadliest gas station, not in Jackson, but probably all of the United States of America. That intersection combined with that gas station is nowhere you want to be for any reason. Period, point blank. And it's so bad right there, Bobby Rush didn't even want the street renamed after him. When they were kind of naming after him, like, nuh-uh. Well, I want to listen to a little press conference here real quick, and we're going to break down these mass shootings. I want to listen to the chief of police here. He just snuck this one in. There's still not a news report about it outside of me making a video. Here we go right here. This is Chief Wade.
The Jackson Police Department worked so many Easter egg hunts to make sure these babies were safe as they looked for Easter eggs. Now,
let me say something real quick. It says a lot about your culture and how rotten it is when the police are required to work Easter egg hunts. I mean, really. That should tell you all you need to know about the rotten culture in Jackson, Mississippi.
No coincidence whatsoever. But this incident at the gas station, this incident on Brown Street is going to overshadow all those good things.
Balloons and shell casings, two things you never want to see in the same area. But that's what you'll find near Mary C. Jones Park along Yates and Brown Streets.
Everything was cool. Everything was cool before that fight broke out.
Tyrone Williams, who went back to the area the day after the shooting, says he witnessed it all.
Man, I was right there, bro. I was right there, and I saw them fighting. So I was like, dang. So I saw the woman had reached her purse or something like that. So that's when I took off.
Jackson Police Chief Joseph Wade says he was there too just a few hours before shots rang out.
The community was out there celebrating the holiday weekend. They appeared to be doing some very good things with the kids. They had some little space jumps out there. They were barbecuing. They had music playing. And what was very concerning to me is that someone would bring that type of violence to that situation when people were trying to just simply enjoy themselves over the holiday weekend.
Chief Wade says 5 people were shot at the party, a 43-year-old, 20-year-old, 16-year-old, and an 8-year-old.
An 8-year-old child suffered a gunshot wound.
The 5th person shot was the alleged shooter, 19-year-old Zakiya Winford. Winford is believed to have shot herself. She faces 4 counts of aggravated assault. At last check, Chief Wade says all the victims and the suspect were recovering at a hospital and are expected to be okay. As for that other shooting at the Jasco gas station off Highway 80, Chief Wade says police are issuing warrants for 2 persons of interest.
All right, so let's run this down here. Easter afternoon, Easter evening. It's a birthday party / Easter egg hunt at one of these parks in Jackson. Some girl, an 18-year-old, I think is what they said, pulls a gun out of her purse, shoots herself, and then proceeds to shoot 4 or 5 other people, including a 16-year-old and an 8-year-old. I'm not sure if she's counted in the 5 that got shot or if it's 6 that got shot, including her. Irrelevant. She shot an 8-year-old. A 16-year-old, which a 16-year-old is just good killing age in Jackson. That's who's doing most of these killings. So I don't really, hard to consider them a kid anymore. 8-year-old, a 16-year-old, and a couple other folks. By all definitions, it's a mass shooting, except she used a pistol and she ain't white. Fast forward a couple hours. Again, the deadliest gas station in the deadliest city in America. Jackson, Mississippi, the Jasco. Guys, I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you ever see a Jasco being built, you ever see a sign that says coming soon, Jasco? It's too late. You've waited too long. Pack what you can, throw it in your car, leave. Let the bank have the house. I got some people who will buy them. They'll put some renters in it, some low-income renters. You know, take what you can get the hell out of Dodge. 4 people shot. 1 dead. And they haven't arrested the guy yet. I mean, who am I to tell JPD how to do their job? But at this point, given all the murder and mayhem that takes place at the intersection of Highway 80 and Ellis Avenue at the Jasco, why don't you just put a little substation right there? Just keep a car there at all times. Now, this is Jackson. They'll just move across the street. They'll just move their murder and mayhem across the street to the Dairy Queen. But, I mean, at least do something. You know, now I rarely ever, if never, agree with Chokwe on anything. But him and the other black Democrat mayors of all the deadliest cities in their respective states had a crime summit the other day. It's so rich with irony. They had a crime summit, and they're trying to figure out how to fight crime in their cities. You may ask yourself, well, Clay, what are they going to do? Are they going to start arresting more people? Are the judges finally going to start giving some stiffer bonds? Nope. They've decided to start arresting the business owners that these crimes happen at. That'll teach them. My one caveat is these gas stations that allow loitering, that sell paraphernalia, single cigarettes, stuff of that nature, drug bags, bongs, one-hitters, those, and then allow them to just stand outside and drink their single liquor, malt liquors they just bought. You got some culpability. In fact, you do. When I was a nightclub owner, we couldn't allow any of that kind of stuff. Because when somebody gets hurt, beat up, shot, whatever, you're liable from a financial standpoint. All right, let's fast forward to yesterday. Another Jackson gas station. Shout out to my boy Ty for sending me some footage. Clinton Boulevard. 3 people shot. Rumors from witnesses that were in my social media comments said hundreds of gunshots were fired. Multiple cars, windows shot out. Bullet holes everywhere. So if you're keeping count at home, it's 3 mass shootings. 12 people total shot. 1 dead. 1 16-year-old and 1 8-year-old shot in less than 24 hours in Jackson, Mississippi. Now, according to my numbers, that should put Jackson at 30 homicides. Let's see if WLBT's updated the murder tracker. Doing this in live time. It has not popped up yet. It was 29 last night, and I don't think they had updated, so we're going to say 30. If I'm wrong, I'll adjust. Let's see here. They're still stuck at 29. CJ LeMasters is in charge of that. He has not updated it yet. I guess they're waiting to see if some of these other people die from the gas station mass shootings. You know, I know y'all are tired of hearing me say this, but if I ran out of gas in Jackson, Mississippi, I would push my car past 10 gas stations to get back to Rankin County before I stopped to get gas. You are safer pushing it down the road than you are stopping at a Jackson gas station, especially one in the city. I mean, you maybe eyed it like High Street, something like that. And I know, man, there's some guy, I don't even know his name, but he's taking these older gas stations and he's redoing them, and they're really nice. They're like boutique gas stations, and I commend them. But at the end of the day, it's still a gas station in Jackson, and you can't control the trash that pops off out in your parking lot or at the red lights in front of them. I mean, look at that. The QT, arguably the nicest gas station in all of Hinds County. There where the old Twin Peaks and all that used to be. Basically a truck stop, right? Definitely the biggest and the newest. I guess you can always argue about the nicest. And you got somebody outside doing donuts, shooting randomly in drive-by shootings. So, hey, where's BLM? I mean, you would think that Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton would be skydiving out of planes to get to Jackson, Mississippi over all these shot black folks. Shot black kids. Dead black people. But it only matters when somebody that don't look like them is the cause of their death. We'll be right back. Quick. I really want to stay on top of that. That phone number is 769-241-1944 is the Guns and Gear text line. Somebody says, unknown texter, if you are armed and stop at a gas station in Jackson, Mississippi, you could be arrested for hunting over a baited field. It is kind of like shooting fish in a barrel. Is that kind of the analogy there? I don't hunt, so the baited field reference is a little vague for me. Myram says, where did you say the gas station was at? It's on the corner of Highway 80 and Ellis Avenue. It's a Jasco. He also says we got a new listener. His name is Ricky Bass. Can he get a welcome on board? Ricky Bass, welcome on board. Glad to have you, brother. Let's see here. Chris says there's 7 Jasco gas stations in Jackson, according to Google. Well, that explains a lot. If you use my theory of if a Jasco pops up, it's too late, I'm afraid I got some bad news for you. Jackson, it's too late. There's 7 of them. I mean, they're a product of their environment. You know, I don't actually think that the people who build Jascos are bad people, necessarily. I just think that they put them in the absolute worst places. So they they become a product of their environment. And their environment is hell on earth. Let's see here. The phone line this morning, if you want to call in. Mazda of Jackson phone line. Welcome on board, Mazda of Jackson. Y'all get over there and see them today for all of your new and pre-owned vehicle needs right there on I-55 North, right up by Briarwood Drive. They're in the old Mercedes building, in case you need a point of reference. So, let's see here. I think that's about got us caught up. Let's see. Somebody said... Some of the things I don't know if I should read on air, but you know what? Until they tell me I can't, I will. Well, I guess I've already read that. Never mind. Oh, no, here it is. I was told that Jasco was a great place to meet cheap women. You know, it was also the Jasco. I don't know if y'all remember the story a while back. There was a dumpster. A homeless guy was sleeping in a dumpster. And be dang if he didn't get dumped into the back of the garbage truck. So, that sucked. All right, look. I really thought there'd be more outrage over 3 mass shootings in Jackson. I'm just shocked. 3 mass shootings. Imagine for a second, if you would, 3 mass shootings in Rankin or Madison County. They would be talking about banning guns, locking up Christians, patriots, and rednecks, building a wall around it. You know, everybody on, I have a lot of young, we'll call them Democrat Jacksonians that follow me on Instagram. They love to get in my comments, fight, fuss, and argue. You know, they all anytime something happens in Rankin County, they love to tag me. We ain't going to talk about this. Why ain't you going to talk about this? We going to ignore this? Hey, look, I'm going to just tell you, this ain't a democracy over here. It's a dictatorship. We'll talk about what I want to talk about. But where are those people hiding back in their hole when there's been 3 mass shootings in Jackson in less than 24 hours? I mean, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. And I think, I may be wrong. I had to go back and look at that third one. But I think the only person that's been arrested in any of these so far is the girl that shot herself at the birthday party. Let's see here. Looks like we got a phone call on the Mazda of Jackson phone line. Hey, you're on there.
Hey, Clay, it's buddy. I
Hey.
mean, the 3 mass shootings, I mean, that's not used in Jackson. I mean, that's every day. So, I mean, and of course, Kenny Stokes going to come out and say that we got to ban the gun shows. And the Capitol Police is at fault. And, you know, Jackson's going to hell in the handbasket. One thing about in Rankin County, if you happen to come out, say, a park or someplace and you're going to do a shooting, you're going to have about 50 solid citizens kill you while you're doing it. Now, myself, I consider myself a solid citizen. I got a 38 Super in the console, a 45 in the glove compartment, and a 454 Casull on my hip. And I can shoot, and I don't mind. But, I mean, look, it's so bad in Jackson. You know, this is every day. I mean, that's sad to say. That shows a sad thing about Jackson. Only thing is left is somebody to push the flush handle.
Let me say this real quick, buddy. You know, one thing I've always said since I got started doing this is I never want to normalize all the murder and mayhem that goes on in Jackson. I want to treat every incident like it's the only incident. Because when you start normalizing this stuff, like you just said, it's just another day in Jackson, that's when it does just become another day in Jackson. And I don't, and look, maybe at this point I'm just doing this out of spite because I know it drives them crazy that I do it. But I'm just going to keep doing it. We're going to come in here and we're going to raise hell, praise Dale every time one of these events happen. And we're not getting, you know, I always say it. I want equal outrage. I want equal outrage out of the black community in Jackson, the white community in Jackson too. Y'all need to be out protesting, raising hell, marching up and down the streets, demanding no justice, no peace, no justice, no peace. You know, not just when the shooter is white.
Look, I say it is sad when anybody loses their life. It is. But the thing about it in Jackson, they're not going to protest it because they don't care. The only time that they care if a white cop kills a black guy, no matter what, you know, because I don't care if he's got 300 pounds of meth on him and got a truckload of hostage women. The community in Jackson would come out. He was on the way to church reading his Sunday school lesson. He's good. Let's sue for $100 million. And which whoever killed him ought to get a community improvement award. Now, you didn't say that, I did. It's just that the population of Jackson since Katrina has gone to hell. And they don't care. They don't value life. I value life. My family, I will die for them or I'll kill for them. But they over there, it's just the way of life. And you got a lot of these idiots that just like to get on TV. You know, they don't even know the person, but they're going to get on there and mouth off about what a good person they were. And it's just, I hate to say it, but it's every day. Myself, the only time I go to Jackson is when I drive down I-20 to Vicksburg, or I'm going north to see my grandkids on 55. The rest of the time, I stay away from there.
Yeah, buddy, I got to take my break, brother. Great call this morning, man.
All right, appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you, brother. Hey, look, this is going to be my hill to die on, but I always have to say this. It's kind of become a running joke on this show, the good part of Jackson. There really is a good part of Jackson, and it is, in fact, from State Street over there by Martin's and Howland Miles, that part of downtown, up to, you know, I would say around Meadowbrook or so. I mean, and coincidentally, that's where the Capitol Police now roam and control. So they have done their job. Now, has crime gone down in Jackson? No. Has it gone down inside the CCID? Yes. Which really is a shame, not that it gone down. But what does that say about JPD? They had a big chunk of the city taken off their responsibility list. And I mean, now look, we don't really have access to the numbers. I'm just looking at murder. It's down 3 or 4. That's not really a palpable number. Am I using that word right? It's not really a difference maker, 3 or 4. I mean, it is if it's your family members. I get that. But the areas around the CCID are not getting any safer. And just in theory, you would think, all right, you got the same amount of JPD officers, and they're actually growing, and they're not able to make a big enough difference with having less to be responsible for. You know, it's like if you're a manager somewhere and you got way too much on your plate and you hire an assistant manager to take something off your plate, you shouldn't have more work to still do. Your numbers, what you do, your productivity should rise. I don't know that JPD's productivity is rising. What's going on with Operation Unity? I saw where they made a bunch of arrests, got a bunch of guns off the streets. That's all fine and good. Congratulations. Keep on keeping on. But I'm just telling you, set some units up there on the corner of Ellis and 80. And if that was a different Jasco on 80, whatever, set one up there too. But there seems to be something about these Jasco gas stations. I mean, I just put a cruiser, put some of y'all's little cameras with the blue lights that stay on so everybody knows where they're at. Put one of them at the corner there. Maybe that's a deterrent. I don't know. But, I mean, I ain't never been a cop. I just look at things through a lens of thinking, me, myself, if I was a criminal, am I going to commit the crime when the cops are in my line of sight? The answer is no. I'm going to save it for another day. So at this point, do like Brandon does, or Rankin County Sheriffs, or whoever it is. I know Brandon was doing it. I know y'all got some old beat-up cruisers that you can't use no more. Clean one up. Just go park it somewhere. You would be amazed, and put a dummy in it, a mannequin or something, an inflatable. I bet you they make an inflatable police officer on Amazon. Put an inflatable in it and just park it randomly throughout Jackson, close to these gas stations, and watch crime go down. Now, I know the car will actually just get stolen. The wheels will get stolen off of it. But it's still, for passerbys, it will look like a deterrent. What else are you doing with them right now? By the way, I ordered some Trump shoes yesterday. The gold ones, the bad boys, the real deal Holyfields. That's not an April Fool's joke. They will be in 7 to 10 days. I'm going to be rocking these. We'll be right back with Lindsey Beckham on The Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back into The Clay Edwards Show. This segment brought to you by my friends over at Reliable Rental Equipment right there at the corner of Meadowbrook and North State Street. Man, the boss man himself, Mr. Steven, called me on the way in this morning about 6:30. Said, Clay, I got a special that I got to have you talk about today. It's too good to sit on. And that's the great thing about advertising with the Clay Edwards Show. You can call me at 6:30 in the morning if you need to make a change, and boom, sometime over the next 2 hours, people are hearing about that in live time. Well, you don't have to go through a second sales rep or an agency or none of that to get to me. You got my cell phone number. You can call me. You can text me. Say, hey, Clay, talk about this for me today. Boom. It's just that dang easy. Here's the special at Reliable Rental Equipment. Y'all are going to be blown away by this. Remember those old car deals? How do you sell them so cheap? How do you rent them so cheap? If you rent any land moving, dirt moving equipment, any of it, you're going to get a free rollback dumpster for the same time frame that you rent it for. Come on down. A free rollback dumpster with any dirt moving, earth moving equipment. That's right. Holler at my boy Teddy McRaney over at Reliable Rental Equipment today. You can check them out online, reliablerentalequipment.com. reliablerentalequipment.com. Located right there at Meadowbrook Road in the corner of North State Street. If you're familiar with Jackson, right across from where the old Meadowbrook movie theater once stood. They built a big, nice new facility right there. Stop by in, see them. Make sure you tell them you heard it on WYAB and or the Clay Edwards Show. All right, special guest on the Mazda of Jackson phone line this morning. We got Lindsey Beckham of Moms for Liberty. Lindsey.
Good morning.
Good morning. So, something that's I've had some sand in my crawl, we'll say, is the amount of terrible legislation and the amount of dead, legislation that the Senate can't seem to agree on.
Yeah.
You texted me last night and you said, "Hey, look, can I come on and try to rattle some cages and let people know they need to call the folks. We need to get some of these bills out of committee." What's got you hot to trot?
So there are three pieces of legislation that are in committee right now that if they do not come out of committee by midnight tonight, they will die. And these are some really good pieces of legislation. The SAFER Act, which protects women, protects safe places for women and girls. And, of course, that's been a huge issue of mine, is protecting girls in our schools from this over-sexualization and this trans agenda that seems to be pushed everywhere these days. The term woman is used in Mississippi Code 130 times. Now, never did I think there would come a day that we would need to pass legislation to define what a woman is, but that day has come. So this bill, the SAFER Act, it defines a woman It defines female, man, male, and it defines those terms based on biological sex. And it protects our safe places for women and girls, whether that be bathrooms, locker rooms, sorority houses at colleges, prisons, shelters. It protects women by making sure that they are not using these safe places with men, biological men. And so that's one that's just really, really special to me. And I pray that it comes out of committee today and does not die in committee. It's in the Judiciary A committee over in the House. It's past the Senate and it's in the House. So that's one that I really would urge your listeners to call the Capitol, email your representative. There's a way to, on the website, there's a way to look up which members of the House are in the Judiciary A committee. So especially if your representative is in this committee, this kind of falls in their hands at this point. It's up to them whether they bring it out of committee today or not. So that's one that I really, really am praying does come out of committee. We also have one, and Clay, you talked about the Florida bill on one of your live streams last week that was going to prohibit children from having social media. Now, we didn't go that...
Let me
go ahead.
For a second. This is one I have waffled back and forth on, and I think the spirit of it I like. Something I don't like, and I don't think can be taken into account for, and I don't know this to be fact, but like say that you got these kids who have created these social media empires. You know what I mean? Like they're making millions of dollars through becoming internet celebrities, and if they're going to have to delete their accounts if they live in Florida, if they're under 18 or whatever the number was.
Right. And, I talked to you about that and told you we didn't get behind that bill because we believe it's a parent's right to decide when their child is mature enough or old enough to have a social media account. So what Mississippi's version of that bill does is it's called the Walker-Montgomery Protecting Children Online Act. And it was brought to the legislature this year by my representative, Jill Ford, and it's also being pushed by our Attorney General, Lynn Fitch. But it will, in Mississippi, this bill will not allow children to have social media accounts unless they have a parent's permission. It also will safeguard children's privacy and identifying info. It will make these social media companies put these safeguards in place. And it also requires these social media companies to develop strategies to prevent children from harmful online materials. It's named the Walker-Montgomery Protecting Children Online Act because Walker Montgomery was a boy from Mississippi in high school who killed himself because he got caught up in a sextortion scam on social media.
Yeah, we talked about that a good bit here.
Yeah, so that's where this bill is coming from. Now, it's in the Senate. It's in the Judiciary. It was actually double referred in the Senate, which usually is not a good sign, but it is in the Judiciary A and Judiciary B committee over in the Senate. And then the last one that I'm really, really pushing is the Parental Bill of Rights. It's House Bill 900, and it prohibits the state or any government entity from burdening a parent's fundamental right to direct the upbringing of their children. And as you know, we do not believe a parent's rights stop at the classroom door. And we believe that it is a parent's fundamental right to direct the moral upbringing, religious upbringing, educational upbringing of their children. And so that's what this bill will protect. It's also in the Judiciary A Senate committee. So those are three that I'm just really passionate about. They will all die at midnight tonight if they do not come out of committee. So we need people calling up there, calling the Capitol switchboard. There's a little trick that you can email all of the senators at one time. If you use the email address, senators@senate.ms.gov. So you can knock it all out in one email. Email them, let them know that these pieces of legislation are so important and that we want them passed into law this session.
Give that email address again.
It's senators@senate.ms.gov. Same with the House. Representatives@house.ms.gov.
All right, Lindsey, we're out of time. We got to take a break. Thank you so much for calling in this morning.
Absolutely.
Bye.
All right, bye.
All right, we'll be right back on the Clay Edwards Show to land the plane for the first hour. We got a whole another hour to go, and it's just me here in the studio, so get ready for Train Wreck Radio. We'll be right back. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. I got an interesting text, or I got a text during the break about advertising. I just think this is kind of worth mentioning out loud here. They were just saying, hey, how can we, kind of see the results? How does that work? Can you show your results to advertisers on paper? And the best thing I can say is we've got some that have been with us for a long time. We got some that are just coming on board. If you're a potential advertiser, I'd say call any of our current advertisers and ask them how it's working for them. I don't want to tell you a particular one that I know is working really well and kind of tilt the scales. I just invite you to call any of them, preferably ones that have been on for longer than a week. But generally speaking, there's a reason we get these folks and they stay on for years at a time because it works. And look, it's affordable too. I've bought a ton of radio in my life, having a nightclub and working at car lots. And I can assure you what we're doing here, we're like Fred. We're giving away the store. But we also make it very small business friendly because we understand how expensive it is to run a small business, and everything's got to count. Advertising's got to work. All right, we'll be right back on the other side of the top of the hour news here. Boom goes the dynamite. It's hour 2 of the realest show on the radio. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I'm, of course, Clay Edwards. We're live here on 103.9 FM WYAB. This segment brought to you by Lakeland Glass and Tint. Get over there today. They specialize in high-end protection for every vehicle. They offer Expel window tint, Expel ceramic coating, and Expel paint protection. Protect one of your largest investments with the best products installed by a highly trained staff. Be sure to check out their full line of Expel aftercare products to keep your rides clean and protected at Lakeland Glass and Tint, located right there on Lakeland Drive. As soon as you kind of cross over the bridge heading from Jackson, you'll see it there on the right. It's that's the windshield spot. And then over on Flowwood Drive, right across from the River Oaks ER, Merit Health ER, whatever it's called this week, is the tint and wrap and ceramic coating shop. Get by there, see the guys. I can't speak highly enough of what that ceramic coating can do to protect your vehicle. And they're always offering some kind of great special. And Expel is the premier top-of-the-line window tint, ceramic coating, and paint protection film on the market. And Lakeland Glass and Tint has been their number one installer. They've won their best of the last 2 years in a row. Dealer of the year is the word I'm looking for. Installer of the year. 2 years in a row. Right here in Central Mississippi. Get you a quote today. LakelandGlassandTint.com. And look, don't forget, got a house or an office building, you want to get some window tint on, some ceramic tint, help lower those utility bills, help keep it a little bit cooler as we get into the 7 levels of hell hot summer around here. Lakeland Glass and Tint can do that too. They can wrap your vehicle, turn it into a rolling billboard. Maybe you got a wall in your business you want to put your logo on. They can do that too. Give them a shout today. LakelandGlassandTint.com, where quality matters. All right, so I've heard the thing on the news here the last 2 hours. Apparently, Chokwe is going to perp walk litter bugs. And some of y'all are saying, priorities, man, priorities. Hey, you know what? I'm probably going to surprise y'all here. I like it. Good job, Chokwe. Good job, Chokwe. I think it's called broken windows policing. You start making some examples out of folks. But don't stop. Don't treat the first ones like they're the only ones. See, that's the problem. It's all this start, stop, start, stop. Do it every time. I still got my money on we getting to see Chokwe in a perp walk before this term is up. I'm still holding out hope for that. I'm still holding out hope that the rumors are all true. So, but in the meantime, If they want to start arresting litter bugs, I 100% co-sign on that. I don't want to speak for Mr. Kim Wade, but I know that he's very big on the littering thing as well. I'm going to guess Kim probably co-signs on it too, but I don't want to put words in his mouth. That is a good thing. Because if you're not paying attention to the little things, there's no way I assume you're paying attention to the big things. Because that's how they rebuilt New York coming out of the 70s and 80s with Rudy Giuliani. New York City, that is. It's called broken windows policing. You arrest people for everything, even the little things. You prevent the little things, it prevents the big things. You know, like anytime JPD does something, or Rankin, we'll use Rankin County, for example, Pearl, any of the police departments over there, or Madison, anywhere but Jackson. We'll use this for an example. People always say, when they talk about a small drug bust, a little marijuana, everybody gets on the line, you ain't got nothing better to do? You ain't got nothing better to do to little marijuana busts? It ain't even illegal anymore. It's still illegal. It's only legal if you get it from a dispensary with a medical marijuana card. Just because you can go legally buy it don't mean you can illegally sell it. Stupid people. Anyway, they have time to brag about those little busts, the little things, because when you're hard on the little things, it deters the big things from happening. And that doesn't mean an idiot isn't born every day and won't do something stupid. It happens. But just like how Jackson, I don't think's made but one arrest in these 3 mass shootings, when stuff like that happens in Rankin and Madison County, generally, when the story breaks, they've already got a section in it that says suspect arrested or suspect compromised in shootout. They don't play. They always get their guy in Rankin and Madison County. You had 3 mass shootings in one day, basically. And the only person that you got arrested right now is the girl that shot herself while doing it. I ain't making this stuff up. They did say they had a warrant out for a couple of guys from a gas station deal, but best I know, they ain't got them yet. And I get it. It's easier to blend in Jackson. It's easier to hide. I understand. It's a bigger area. Let's see here. Let's take a call on the Mazda of Jackson phone line. Hey, you're on there.
Yeah. Quickly about this litter patrol. That's all great that he wants to clean up the city. Who's going to hold him responsible for the majority of the litter being from him not picking up the trash for the past year?
Well, there's definitely that. I mean, look, I would love to see him perp walked. So you don't have to sell me on that.
I mean, that just sounds like he's pointing the finger at somebody else. I get Jackson's a hole, but somebody hold the guy in charge responsible. I appreciate it.
Yeah, brother, appreciate it. Hey, you won't get no argument out of me there. Hold them responsible. Let's see here. Let's read a few of your guns and gear text line. Spook says, stop and frisk. I agree. Stop and frisk. Bring back stop and frisk. If that upsets them, so be it. They deserve to be upset. Ty said, regarding the WLBT report, Chokwe says they're going to perp walk people that litter, but won't perp walk people that shoot children. Like that woman that shot the 8-year-old. Did they even show a mugshot? That's a great point there, my brother. That's a great point. But, they don't want to perp walk the mass shooters in Jackson because I'm just going to be honest. I mean, y'all can say this is, racially insensitive, whatever, but they're not showing them because they're black. And it doesn't work with their far left progressive narrative on gun control. That's why they don't show them. That's why you'll probably never see them unless Capitol Police arrest them. Let's take another call. Hey, you're on there.
Hey, Brother Clay, it's Andrew. How's it going?
Hey, brother. How you doing?
Brother, I am here working the polls today, And I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that there is a primary going on. It's for Congress, and the turnout is low. It's a Republican primary.
In Jackson, Hines County.
Yeah. I was just letting everybody know that, and I heard what you were saying about guns. And, all I'm going to say about that is more guns equals less crime. And it's a great book by John Lott if you haven't read it. It really talks about it. And that's all I really had to say, brother.
Andrew, doing a great job. That's Andrew. Pronounce your last name. I think it's Gassar. Andrew Gassar. He's been filling in some here for Kim and for Jameson. Doing a great job. It's called Political Church. It's the name of his show. If you hear Andrew, he'll fill in for me at some point. Maybe one day he'll have his own show. I sure hope so. I enjoy listening to him. He brings a lot of experience to the table. I say right now, pound for pound, WYAB has got its strongest lineup since I've been here. You know, I would still love to have Mike Madison 5 days a week, but you know, life is life. We've got him a couple days a week. Allison Tharp took a full-time job. We've lost Allison. I hate that, but she'll still come in some here and there. You know, we got Andrew filling in some. That's a strong bench right there. And then we got Chip Matthews started a show yesterday. And of course, myself, Jameson, and Kim Wade. We're rocking and rolling here at WYAB. But back to Ty's text about not perp walking murderers. Yeah, I'm with you, 100%. 100%. Did y'all see this? And I'm going to move on to some different topics here. I really want to hit some national stuff, but I want to close this segment out because we're going to get to Joe Biden. Joe Biden is now denying that he changed Easter to Transgender Visibility Day. I mean, they're just gaslighting. 100% gaslighting. Like we have the proclamation from the White House. We're going to get to that because it's worth a whole segment. But closing out Jackson, here's a headline that you don't see too often. And by don't see too often, I mean see every day. Quote, he was terrorizing South Jackson. Man kidnapped citizens, forced them to withdraw money from ATM, police say. I don't know, funny is probably not the best word. Peculiar, maybe that's a better word. This has been like an urban legend for a while over there. I mean, my folks still live technically in South Jackson. So this has been an urban legend that there's been a guy kidnapping people and making them take money, making them go to ATMs to take money. Here's a story from WLBT. A man who police say terrorized the citizens of South Jackson has been arrested and charged with a plethora of crimes. Well, I wonder, what is that plethora? I love it when they use the word plethora. Stephen Jones was arrested last week and charged with 1 count of auto theft, 8 counts of armed robberies. Well, this is the plethora, I guess. Let's see. Let me start over. 1 count of auto theft, 8 counts of armed robbery, 2 counts of armed robbery of a business, 3 counts of kidnapping, 1 count of carjacking, and 1 count of aggravated assault. Well, depending on which judge he sees, is it Tommy Green? Is it Wooten? He'll be right out $1,000 bond. he ain't gonna be locked up long. Anyway, this says this after police say Jones was accosting people, putting them in their trunk and taking them to ATM machines and making them withdraw money. He was terrorizing South Jackson, police added. Well, good to know South Jackson is now safe. Good job, JPD, for arresting him. I don't want to rain on that parade any. We definitely appreciate you getting this terrorist, actually. If you terrorize, you're a terrorist. So to get this free the land terrorist off the streets, we do appreciate you. Real quick, man, what's for lunch today? Out at the Burgers Blues barbecue locations. Just check them out real quick. And don't forget, Burgers Blues Barbecue is open for breakfast at their Madison and brand new Flowood location. So don't miss out on great breakfast, whether it's the chicken and waffles, the homemade chicken biscuits from scratch, cat head biscuits. Got a full pan of them, Andy. Andy Gibson's empty pan of biscuits saying will forever be iconic to me. All right, look, fried pork chop is the blue plate today at Burgers Blues Barbecue. You can also get hamburger steak, the sides of sweet potato casserole, lima beans, and mashed potatoes. That's available at all three Burgers Blues Barbecue locations. Main Street, Madison, Dogwood, and Flowwood, located right in front of Dick's Sporting Goods. And, of course, downtown Brandon, right there on West Government Street. You can't miss it. We'll be right back. Into the Clay Edwards Show. Hey, guys, don't forget, check out my website, BuyFAFO. That's F-A-F-O. You know what it means. BuyFAFO.com and order yourself one of the hot selling F around and find out shirts. And we've got brand new hats in stock now. They're the Richardson 112 style hats. Everybody knows what that is. Went with a different brand. These actually fit better. I'm a hat connoisseur. Trust me on this. We got black and white and then gray and white. You can go see pictures of both at buyfafo.com. If you can't remember that, just go to clayedwardsshow.com and click merch. It'll be there as well. Let's see here. Speaking of advertisers, you live in Central Mississippi, you got foundation problems. If you don't, you will. And when you do, you need to call Foremost Foundations and Construction. Foremost Foundations uses innovative polyfoam technology that, with great precision, can correct and restore sinking concrete quickly. They provide solutions for long-term. They can improve the stability of the actual soil to support the foundation or concrete slabs. Thanks to their specially designed rigs, they can drill and lift without the need for heavy excavation. The team has decades worth of experience. They've tried all the old tricks. They know what works, and they have weeded out the ones that don't work. They're experts in foundation repair, polyfoam, drainage, seawalls, and retaining walls. You can check them out online, foremostfoundations.com. That's foundations with an S, foremostfoundations.com. Man, I know I told the story at nauseum, but check out, like right through Belhaven or somewhere like that, real hilly, and they got the sidewalks and the driveways are all wonky and stuff. Polyfoam can help fix or prevent that. So let them come out and get you an estimate today. All right, let's read up. Somebody's Woodrow's always correcting me, and he says they're caps, not hats. Woodrow, they're hats. You can call it a cap if you want. I call it a hat because it's a hat. Woodrow also don't like the way I say fentanyl, if I remember correctly. It's fentanyl. It's fentanyl. Hell, I say y'all. It ain't a word either. Remember my buddy Jake Wimberly got into radio over there at the ESPN station? Would listen to Jake every day. And the one thing that people love to do is correct how you say something via text message. It used to get on my nerves when they did it to him. Now I appreciate it a lot more. I'm a redneck with a 10th grade education from Central Mississippi. There's a lot of things I'm going to get wrong. Let's see here. Joe Biden. Joe Biden denies declaring Easter Sunday Transgender Day of Visibility. You ever wonder what gaslighting, you hear that term a lot, gaslighting. Women love to use it, and Democrats love to use it. Usually, it's a lot like cheating. Usually the person accusing somebody of cheating is the cheater. Well, I'm coming to find out gaslighting is, in fact, the same thing. Yea, who smelt it, dealt it. If I could get a Breitbart here to actually work right, I'm going to read you all the story. Or maybe we won't. Just froze. Well, this makes for great radio. All right, here we go. President Joe Biden reportedly denied declaring Easter Sunday the Transgender Day of Visibility, despite issuing a very clear proclamation on Good Friday, which stated, in part, I, Joseph R. Biden Jr., President of the United States of America, by the virtue of the authority vested in me by the Constitution and the laws of the United States, do hereby proclaim March 31st, 2024 as Transgender Day of Visibility. Well, I tell you what, first off, anything that comes out of the White House and it starts with I, Joseph R. Biden Jr., it ain't good for America. Like, you just rest assured that you're about to get screwed one way or another. If any proclamation comes out of there, especially if you're a straight male of any race, like, I ain't going to like what's about to happen to me here. Real Clear Politics reporter Philip, I can't even, Regman. You know what? If you're a guy, you don't use your middle name. Don't. Like, this guy's name is Philip McClathion Wegman. I mean, is that your maiden name in the middle? Stop it. You first name, last name. Anyway, Philip, and I can't pronounce either of his other two names. Sorry, Woodrow. Detailed the Q&As of Biden's denial on Monday. According to Wegman, Biden said, I didn't do that, and claimed that Speaker Mike Johnson, a Republican from Louisiana who criticized Biden for making the proclamation, is thoroughly uninformed. I'm speechless. And not because I don't read enough. I'm speechless because I don't have anything nice to say. Says, I'm putting somebody on hold. Quote, I didn't do that, Biden said. I'm not going to read the quote again. Anyway, Biden's denial is blatantly false. On Good Friday, the White House issued a proclamation titled, A Proclamation on Transgender Day of Visibility 2024. Quote, on Transgender Day of Visibility, we honor the extraordinary courage and contributions of the transgender Americans and reaffirm our nation's commitment to forming a more perfect union where all people are created equal and treated equally throughout their lives. The proclamation reads, in part, further, it reads like a message written by Biden with the frequent use of I and my administration. I'm not going to bog y'all down reading all this. I want to ask this. I've still yet to figure out why such a war is being raged over such a small group of people that have stayed in their lane forever. Guys that want to dress like women or think they're women or vice versa. Stay in your lane. Be you, boo-boo. But you don't need a day of visibility. We see you. I see you. Everybody sees you. You look like an 800-pound gorilla in the room painted purple. We see you. You don't need, Helen Keller could see you. You don't need a day of visibility. You know, there's 145 other LGBTQ Elemento P, Alphabet Mafia, Rainbow Supremacists. There's 145 other days a year that is, quote unquote, their day. And you had to pick Easter Sunday. You can move it off Easter Sunday for 1 year. And even if you left it there, the President of the United States of America should not be signing a proclamation acknowledging that Easter Sunday is Trans Day of Visibility. Let's take a call. Hey, you're on there.
Good morning, Clay. How are you?
Hey, Sylvia. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Do you mind if I go back just a minute to the Jackson?
No, go ahead.
That we're talking about the first hour. You know, I find I believe that the city has a ghetto mentality where you don't say anything about anything, and you definitely don't talk to the police. I do think that the new mayor, when he or she is elected, and I especially hope Kim is, but I really would like to see them concentrate on two areas: making sure that the city is well policed, which means hire more police officers, give the police department what they need to be able to function correctly, and pay them some money. Don't give them some change, and work on the school district. It's not difficult, in my opinion, to do those two things, because if they cared, instead of worried about being black, if they cared about the community and the safety of the community and the education of the students, it would be different. They don't care. It kind of reminds me of that slave mentality. We're going to just do whatever we're going to do on the plantation and make sure that it's not too much, or it's just enough to where you stay out of trouble and you keep your nose to yourself. You're not concerned about the community as a whole, if that makes any sense.
100%.
Okay, good. Well, and then this declaring Easter Sunday as Transgender Day, that is a sacrilegious.
An abomination.
And it's a shame before God. And he's supposed to be a practicing Catholic. This is why I have a problem with Catholicism. Oh, goodness, I can't even pronounce it.
Catholicism.
But yes, that's the word I want to pronounce. There are Christians in that religion. However, most of the time it's just practicing tradition, not necessarily having trusted Christ as your personal Savior and using the Bible. And they have a different Bible from the regular Bible. But they don't. Christ is taught, but not in the same way as is taught in, say, churches that aren't Catholic. It's just, he's just there to admire. He's not there to actually change your life. They don't seem to believe that he died on the cross, that he was buried, and that he rose again from the dead. Hallelujah. And that he saved you, and that in the process of you being saved, you read his word, and that's what helps change you, and ask the Holy Spirit to work in your life, to apply his word in your life. And it's just sad. I do know some saved Catholics, but I do find that being Catholic, they'll tell you, oh, I'm a Christian, but when you ask them to give you a definition of a Christian, it's far from the truth of what a Christian is. And that's all I wanted to say. And good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm up.
Good morning. Thank you. Have a blessed one. We always appreciate Sylvia calling in on the Mazda of Jackson phone line. Let's take a break, come back, and keep running this train wreck right on off the tracks this morning. This is the Clay Edwards Show on WYAB. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show here on 103.9 FM WYAB. Hey, real quick, guys, let's talk about your testosterone levels or lack thereof. Are you struggling with some of these symptoms here? Fatigue, decreased muscle tone, lack of energy, erectile dysfunction, low libido, brain fog, sleep disturbances? Then you may, in fact, have low testosterone. Get a free testosterone screening today from my friends out at Men's Health of Mississippi, right there in Madison, Mississippi, on Fountains Boulevard. Text, this is real simple. Text free, all caps, the word free, to 601-327-8550. 601-327-8550. Text free and get on to potentially a life-changing supplement. I guess you would call it a supplement. Testosterone replacement therapy. It is I'm 12, 13, 14 months. Started back in January of 21, March. Yeah, so 15 months in, almost a year and a half. Game changer in every aspect of my life. That is the best review I can give it. All that stuff that I just said, without going back into detail, all that stuff your boy was suffering from. And none of that stuff now. I still eat too much, but that ain't got nothing to do with the testosterone. I'm working on it. I like country fried steak. What can I say? I'm still from Mississippi. All right, shifting gears. Oh, yeah, you can check out their website, too, menshealthms.com. That's Men's Health of Mississippi. How about, so last night something funny was happening on Twitter. The left-wing nut jobs got the hashtag TrumpIsHiding to trend last night. This real far-left nut job named Brooklyn Dad, if you're on X, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, I get it. He says, let's get this hashtag TrumpIsHiding to trend. It'll make MAGA heads explode. Bro, I don't care how many hashtags you get trending. My head's not going to explode. It's funny. These anger addicts, they hate when Trump speaks. Then when he goes a couple hours without speaking, they're mad that he's not speaking. That is an anger addict. That is called, they suffer from a rare derangement syndrome called Trump derangement syndrome, short for TDS for short. Another thing they like to say a lot is the walls are closing in. I wish Sean was here for this. The walls are closing in. Well, the walls have been closing in since about 2016, and here's some footage. I wish y'all could see the dates on this, but this dates back to about 2016 here. It's a minute and a half long of different media outlets and politicians claiming that the walls are closing in.
The walls feel like they are closing in.
As the walls close in around the president.
Donald Trump feels the walls closing in.
This is a guy who feels like the walls are closing in.
The walls are closing in on him.
Because the walls are closing in.
The walls are closing in on the president.
Now the walls appear to be closing in.
Really kind of the walls closing in on him.
The walls are closing in because the walls are indeed closing in.
I think at this point the walls are spinning.
The legal walls are closing in.
The walls are closing in on President Trump.
The walls, meanwhile, are closing in on the President of the United States.
The walls closing in on President Donald Trump.
It appears that the walls are closing in on this president.
Feels that the walls are closing in on him.
The walls closing in on him.
The walls are closing in.
And the walls are closing in on.
That the walls are closing in on the president.
Are the walls closing in?
The walls are closing in on the presidency.
He says as the walls begin to close around him. The political walls closing in on him.
This is a president that feels the walls closing in.
The walls are closing in on Donald Trump.
I think the walls are finally closing in.
The walls.
The walls.
The walls.
The walls.
The walls.
Walls.
Walls and the walls.
The walls. The walls.
The walls.
Walls
are closing
in.
Closing in.
Closing in.
Closing in.
Closing in on.
It's closing in.
The walls are closing in
on President Donald Trump.
He's not looking forward to any of it. He's horrified. He's just talking big. The walls are closing in, as has been said before.
Okay, that probably didn't translate as well to radio because it's kind of a visual aspect to it. But you get the point. The walls have been closing in, and Big Daddy Trump just keeps coming out swinging. $175 million yesterday. Didn't even have to do the cash. Was, in fact, able to get a bonding company to do the bond. And they're big mad about it. If y'all ever wonder what I do, that's what Democrats sound like to me when they yap about Trump. All I hear is walls closing in and That's what it sounds like. All that liberal gibberish. The walls are closing in. But Trump's a cash money billionaire, bro. Billionaire. Cash money. He could have gone in, what I thought would have been the ultimate BDE move. Again, I'm going to say it one more time. BDE move would have been back a Brinks truck or 2 or 3 up, all $1 bills, yo, and say, here you go, $175 million in ones. Are there even that many ones in circulation? Could you do that? I would. Maybe go up to $5 bills if you got to, but I would not do $100 bills. I would do $5 bills at minimum. Really, $1 work better. So they're mad. I don't get it. Where's Trump hiding at? They've lost their minds. Again, if he ain't talking, they're mad. If he's talking, they're mad. I've never seen a group of people so strangely obsessed with one individual. What is going to happen? What are Democrats going to do when Trump finally does ride off into the sunset? You know, if it ends in November and they find a way to steal the election and Trump isn't president, or even fast forward 4 years if he does win, and like Trump rides on off, do they find a way to move that anger, that hatred, that sheer derangement to somebody else? Is it even possible? You know, and look, all joking aside here, the current toxicity of politics, whether it's how we feel about Joe Biden, how they feel about Donald Trump, all of this is keeping the best and brightest future politicos from getting into politics. It's so toxic. I was talking to my buddy at the Kratom store in Richland the other day, a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about this. He's from Yemen, practicing Muslim. He is a Muslim. He ain't just practicing. But we always have really good conversations because I get it from a different angle that I don't always get it from. And he actually said, I'm a vote for Trump if the election's tomorrow. He's like, because Biden's bad for business. But we were just talking about this topic about our best and brightest not getting into politics. And he was asking, why? Why don't y'all do that here in America? I said, well, when you sign up to run for president, or really anything at this point, but we'll just use president as the example. If you're a Democrat, half of America thinks you're a pedophile. If you're a Republican, half of America claims you're a racist, bigot, homophobe, transphobe, insurrectionist, election denier. There is zero rationale involved anymore. It's left, it's right, there's nothing in the middle. And I think there should be. I think we gotta be able to start getting some good people back into politics. Now, I think Donald Trump's great, but I mean, outside of Donald Trump, we got to get some good people back in politics. And they should never be a Joe Biden. Joe Biden should not exist. He is a terrible president, a terrible politician, and an even worse human being. But they let their hatred for Donald Trump and the Democrats' love for old white racist overtake them, and here we are. We got Joe Biden. I'll be right back. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. Guys, if you're in downtown Jacktown today, you're going to want to grab lunch at Martin's downtown. Always the best plate lunch in all of Hinds County. And don't forget, they're opening here in the next month or so in Gluckstadt. Well, it ain't really Gluckstadt. In Madison County, there at the old Livingston there in the old The Gathering restaurant. Yeah, remember it. Today's plate lunch, if you're going to be downtown, today's Tuesday, it's smoked ribs. And, of course, the whole menu is always available at Martin's right down there on Commerce Street, there on the corner of State Street and Pearl Street. You know where Martin's is. It's been there for 70 years. There's a lot of places I got to tell you where they're located. Martin's should not be one of them unless you're new here. And then I still got some questions why you haven't been yet. Let's see here. Anything last we want to close out with today? What about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. going at it on CNN when they accuse him of hurting Joe Biden? How long is this? 15 seconds. Let's listen to this real quick to take us home. This is RFK Jr. responding to Dem and GOP attacks that he's a spoiler. It's not his job not to be. Let's see here.
But do you really believe that when people talk about the threat to democracy that Trump poses, do you really think that is an equal evil to Biden?
I mean, listen, I can make the argument that President Biden is a much worse threat to democracy.
But do you...
All right, we ran out of radio time there. See you guys tomorrow. ClayEdwardsShow.com.